Uh,
Hi, everybody, and welcome again to a beautiful summer Wednesday, right? At
mhm.
least in our part of the world. Other parts may have different climate, to be honest. Yeah,
Yes.
because we call, for instance, Australia down under, right? And today we have Wednesday, May, no, sorry, June
June.
4th. And yeah, June is starting, at least in my part of the world. In Greece, I think summertime starts from April, May. But you could say in Sweden it starts from June. So now it's summer,
Yes.
finally. And
Finally.
you in Arizona?
Oh, it's hotter than you know. Now and then we get just a little breeze, and we go, oh, thank you, oh, thank you. But yeah, yeah, we started summer about 3 months ago.
That's beautiful. And today we are going to talk about a topic that is so special, unleashing infinity, the art of living limitlessly. And
Yes.
that is important because in reality, everything is limitless, right?
Yes.
And our last show, that was on May 28th, was last week, Wednesday last week, and we talked about the Celestial Prophecy by James Redfield, Insight 2, the world as a spiritual design. Humanity is evolving towards a new consciousness. And that is also very, very exciting because we launched a 12-part series. We started May this year, and we dive deep into the Celestial Prophecy, written by James Redfield, right? And many, many years ago, I think 89 was what you mentioned. I read it the year 2000, the
Hmm.
millennium. And throughout this year, because it's 12 insights, when we started, there were 9 insights and then they were added. Now there are 12 insights. So we are going to explore each and every one of them and how we can apply them to our daily life. Because even if it's written a long time ago, it's energetic and it is deep and it's functioning. It's a good path to take to learn because we live in a world where we do exchange energy all the time. So we need to manage that part. Of course, there are so many other things to say about energy, and we're going to come back to that. But this year, I think we'll reach into November, middle of the November, before we have done all 12 um, inside. And we are going to have twice a month. So some months we will have 2 shows with other topics, and some months we're going to have 3 shows because we have 5 Wednesdays, right? But it's going to be twice a month. And you can find upcoming and past episodes at angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming dash past. And you can also, today's show, we go live first time only on YouTube because it's a little bit tricky sometimes on Facebook. So we are going to stream this show right after on Facebook. But it's not going to be a live, it's going to be a replay. But here we are together with you, and this is much easier, to be honest. And I'm thrilled and happy. And we are going to also put up Perrines. We're going to do that hopefully on Sunday. So we're going to stream on Korean's YouTube as well. And this is going to be stunning. I'm excited. And yeah, what else is there to say? You can connect with us, of course. Find Corinne, find me, upcoming shows, past episodes, and everything. You can also go to angelplaceonearth.com/cosmic guardians. And I think it's time to dive straight into the topic.
Yes, but I'm not coming on the screen. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we see you and hear you.
Okay, well, good, because my screen is frozen, so I won't know if I'm doing odd things. But anyway, I can still speak to you. That's wonderful. I wanted to read a poem that came to me while I was thinking about this. I am limitless. I am a miracle happening at this moment, beginning in the vastness of no thing and all things. A unity of unconditional love so pure and divine. It is the limitless. I am limitless. I am the heartbeat of a bird and the vibration of its song. I am limitless. I am the sea beginning the rising moisture that will again fall as rain. I am limitless. I am the thought that inspires the writer. I am limitless. I am the sound released in the great symphony. I am limitless. I am the color that inspires the artist. I am limitless. I am the lightning that strikes across the heavens. I am limitless. I am the power in the earthquakes or the volcano. I am limitless. I am the whisper between lovers. I am limitless. I am the spark at conception. I am limitless. I am the first breath of life and the last exhale at death. I am limitless. I am love without conditions. I am limitless. You are limitless. I am limitless. I am forever. I am creation. I am divine. Because I am limitless, I am limitless.
Thank you. That was stunning. That's absolutely a beautiful poem and so on point to everything.
Yes, well, it's interesting. I was created and born without limits. And then life imposes its limits from birth. I mean, we know this. And others that have great potentials, it's being stifled. But I chose to reconnect with my divine and be an unlimited being. And I am a divine expression of this unconditional love. And I have come here to experience the adventures of Earth. OMG, what does that mean?
Exactly. And
It's a mouthful.
you are right. You have frozen, but it doesn't matter. You are beautiful. We see you and we hear you, whatever you say, right?
Well,
Everything.
as long as I am not mute, then I'm happy because I don't have to readjust my outfit. I don't have to watch the lighting, and this is perfect. Oh, but what this means to me, it means that I know and have touched that limitlessness, and I intend to bring it back into my being. And I have spent money and time and experiences to unlearn and remove the limits that were put onto me by society and family and church and education and culture and politics and all the other things bearing other people's doubts and disbeliefs. And I have seen my authentic self.
Yeah.
And that is where I intend to be.
You know, many times we are um, taught that limits, we um, it's self-imposed boundaries and limits, right? But they come from somewhere in the
Hmm.
beginning. As you said, when we come to this world, we are curious, we are open, and we are like parables. We are receiving, we are sending,
Hmm.
we want to explore. But then it's basically the world, and we talked a lot about this before, that are putting up boxes for us. This is where you belong.
Hmm.
Don't step outside of that, right?
I know. I know. And the interesting thing is that through learning, through education, educating myself, through self awareness, first of all, through finding self love, it allowed me to begin this journey again. And by practicing self love, by blessing my shadows, by being grateful, by letting my intuition guide me with this synchronicity flow, by sitting in the silence and meditation, and most importantly, falling in love with love, empathy, compassion, and understanding.
Because we are love. We are made of love. And if you think of small babies, they don't have a perception of just about anything, and they are authentic
Hmm.
because they give love, and they also tell you when they need something in their own way, even if they may not be able to put words on it, right?
Exactly.
So it's the shaping of how we should be. And that is, it doesn't really matter where we are in the world, it's going to come in some form, right?
Yes.
So even if we, as for instance, Sweden, thinking that it's a very modern country and we are free and it's democratic and everything good, yeah, but we are still shaped. We are steered in a certain direction, right?
Hmm.
So finding the limitlessness is, I also chose that because I always went my own way. And if anyone ever dared telling me that you can't do that, I question them. And I think you did the same, right? So
Absolutely.
who are you telling me that I can't do anything? But if we have the perception that I can't do it, then we have put that limit on ourselves.
The accepting, the accepting of other people's opinions. And
Yeah,
this is when you go, oh, this doesn't fit. This doesn't fit how I perceive myself. And we can see limitless is our birthright. And there are
yeah.
people that are living that 24/7. Architects, poets, visionaries, inventors, and musicians, and athletes, and doctors that are able to stay within their limitlessness no matter what. And I have seen in my own life where I touch into it. I manifested my healing center, and then I kind of slip out of it. I get disconnected. I get involved in other things. And it is my goal to again be that incredible person all the time. And it's not, as you have said here, it's not just saying I am limitless. It is really feeling it. And it is
Yeah.
interesting. They did a test and they used a Faraday cage. And I apologize, I might have mispronounced it. But it keeps everything out so they can just concentrate on what's happening within that cage. And so they were measuring emotions. And when they had emotions of love, the electronics, shot up. And also when they had deep depression or something, that shot up because these are very strong emotions. However, the brightest, most brilliant was when the person touched their authentic self.
Yeah. And it takes a little bit of courage because being your authentic self very often means to walk your own path, right? Meaning you listen to what others say, but you pick and choose what you feel are in alignment with you.
Yes. And that is the beauty. And in order to do that, you have to learn to identify what is really your true perception about what is going on. And this, as you said, it takes work. It takes being strong enough to face your shadow side and to embrace it and thank it for what it has to teach. To be able to step out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
And, this is beautiful.
And you could say it is an art that you can master, right?
Yes.
Um, and it feels maybe a little bit hard in the beginning, like challenging, because you need to see, you peel that onion and you need to see things and hear things. And because we live in this world, we are going to see both the positive things and the negative. We can't really close our eyes for the negative side either. But when we are limitless, it's not affecting us because we have a distance to it. It's like I'm observing, I see, and I choose, and I know that I can, no matter what anyone else's opinion about me. I can.
Yes. And the
I
beauty, yeah,
can.
I can. I can. And that is sign language. And it was taught to my daughter when she was 6 months old. And they took these children and were not going to put limits on them. And we're teaching them how to swim. And that was one of the things that they'd sit on the side of the pool and I can. Because just because they could not vocalize it and verbalize it didn't mean they could not communicate. And having that ability, teaching them at that age that they could, and allowing them when they were starting to have little boundaries put on them, be careful, don't touch that, don't climb on that, and so forth, that they were still the powerful being that they were. And recognizing that within ourselves allows us to expand beyond, beyond, beyond.
Yeah. And the journey towards limitlessness, I think that what your daughter experienced is absolutely fantastic because, also being given a language. So she learned that and she could say, I can.
That's
And
correct.
it gives self-confidence, it gives courage, it gives you the feeling. I had the same when I was a child because I was given that by my great grandmother and my grandmother and my grandpa. That was really not my grandpa, but he was living together with my great grandmother. So I come from a very modern family, right? Because in those times, we're talking about maybe the 40s
Yeah.
up until the 70s, right? Um, but the journey towards the limitless existence begins with a profound shift in perspective. So it's like we need to step outside of what we think we know We must dismantle the ingrained belief systems that whisper um, that we cannot, and that are putting seeds for doubt, right?
Yes,
So these are the narratives of scarcity, of not being enough, of external validation, what others think about us, right? So, how, if I put a lot of value in someone else's perspective or opinion about me, I give away my power. That means that I'm not going to be limitless at
that's
that
correct.
point, right?
That's right. And it is a journey that we all need to take. And one thing that you really brought out, and I really appreciated that, was our interconnection with those around us. Because having that association allows us to expand even more. And the things that make us divine are empathy, compassion, connection, understanding, and being that social being that we were intended to be. And when we were deprived of that for 2 years, it was such a shock to the system, and people are having a hard time coming back from that. And they're very callous, they're very me orientated, and they're very, okay, we're just going to do this click, 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 rather than with all the flourish of the imagination of what you can do that isn't even taught to you. So this is a beautiful journey that we're on, and it expands and expands and expands.
It does. And because every time we pick a topic to talk about, uh, we experience that in real life before we go live, right?
Exactly.
So we have been experiencing limitlessness in practical ways, in spiritual ways, in all ways you can think of, right? So
Yes,
it's like when you talk about something, you have to walk your talk as well, right?
that is very correct. That is very correct. And last night again was meditation, and I always let them know what we're going to be speaking about. And it was a great topic after meditation that we were talking about, really applying our God given limitlessness. And this allows you to expand beyond even your conception.
Yeah.
And when you touch into that, and I have touched it several times in my lifetime, and I want to be living in it 24/7. But there is such a brilliance and there is such an ecstasy of knowing that you are at the very center of creation, and
Yeah.
no limit.
No limit. And that brings, I mentioned that from the beginning, it can feel really challenging because we need to step outside of so many things we think we know, right?
Oh, yes.
To be ourselves. It doesn't mean we don't need to follow the laws in society because we do need to have laws. We are so many, right?
Yes.
But when you reach the point of that being limitless within the creation, that gets easier. It's so easy. There are no, the more you walk on the path, the easier it gets.
That's very true. That's very true. It's just like anything else. You get at ease with it. You realize that it is you and it is not somebody else's perception of you. And each time you flex your muscles, so to speak, it does get easier. And when you begin to see the glimmer of the joy that it brings to you, this also is an encouragement. It's like, oh, there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Exactly. Plus something else actually that is beautiful. You start to have a different perception of things. You see things if you encounter challenges, yes, because we are still human, maybe we swear, maybe we say something,
Right.
uh, and we get a little bit angry, but it's not, we don't remain in that place. And when we passed it, we can see that as a stepping stone to something, right? Because I mastered, I mastered myself. I didn't give away my power to bring me down in what
Yes.
I experienced, right?
And that's the beauty of the four agreements. You know, to start speaking impeccably to yourself and encouraging yourself, and to not take things personally and not make assumptions, and always do your best. And when you start implementing these incredible things, you find that you have a different way of engaging in something that may be difficult. I'm working with two of my beautiful male light workers, and they're having a situation because handling things like a male is a little bit different than handling them as a light worker, and still being able to have your authentic self, but learning how to use the words to disarm the situation, inspire the situation. And this is just a beautiful journey. And I used that expression last night. I said, imagine yourself in the gym and you're lifting up, I don't take it personally. I don't take it personally. Or, I am authentic. And flex those muscles and realize that that is your birthright.
Yes, it is. Sorry, I'm writing at the same time. Sorry.
Yes, you are the most beautiful multitasker I've ever seen.
Thank you. Sending you love. And, basically, because everything is connected, so whatever topic we're going to talk about, we are coming back to the same thing in essence, but it's a different way of expressing it, right?
Yes.
So the limitlessness, to cultivate limitlessness, it demands from someone, that's a strong word, right?
I,
To be aware and commit to seeing yourself. And seeing yourself is very often challenging because we are not objective, right? We are living in ourselves, but observing yourself and your reactions, that is the greatest way of for you to come out of anything that you may feel. And this doesn't mean that all is pink and roses every day, or we should not acknowledge that we get angry or um, tired or we feel drained or whatever. It's the opposite because when we come with all our senses. So stepping into the limitlessness means also to acknowledge you. Who are you? If you didn't have all of these boundaries put on you or opinions and perceptions of you that you probably had taken on, that are shaping you somehow. Who said to you that you cannot? Right? Who said that? That's a
yes,
good start.
that's a good start. And we have enough people saying that to us that pretty soon we develop that in our own brain. Oh, I can't do that because I was told I can't do that. And I think you and I kind of come from the same cut of cloth. And I you can't do that is almost fighting words to us. It's like, I don't know, I can't do it until I try it. And then it'll be my decision whether I can or cannot. And addressing yourself and being willing to say, well, I am human. And part of my human experience is experiencing, as you said, sometimes we have a physically bad day, sometimes we have a mentally bad day, but we also are having the human experience. But
Yes.
that does not keep us from being limitless. And having that ability to tap into that kind of energy allows us to be able to overcome and to be able to uh, see a different outcome from what we have been taught, that if this happens, this is the next sequence and this is the next sequence. And we
Mm.
say, no, no, we aren't going to do it that way, because we know that there are so many unlimited ways of doing something. And it was interesting when we started today, and I thought, how many times I'm saying limitless? And is my tongue going to cooperate? And is it always going to come out limitless, or is it going to start, and that was a human thought that I had, but it was a real thought. And so far my tongue has behaved itself. But
Mm.
this is the beauty, and overcoming obstacles and overcoming the fear that we've been beat into us.
Exactly. And I wanted to talk a little bit about fear because a lot of the time we can actually observe, what am I fearful of? What do I feel? Why are certain things? Because also, and this is my observation, in a modern society, because we don't have um, threats like in the Stone Age, right? To be
Yes.
very, very specific. So many times we develop fear for things that are, it makes no sense if you think about it, but it's real for the person experiencing that, right?
Correct.
But we need to really dig into, why do I feel triggered? And it's good to talk about it, but also when we talk about it, we can't talk about the same thing for years because that's going to keep us in the loop. We need to come to that place where we are stepping outside, at least trying, finding a way to overcome that fear. There are fears that are really threatening, right? Like if we are going out in the middle of the night, we are being careful because you don't know who you're going to meet, stuff of that nature, right?
Yes.
That's different. But it also means that, am I letting fear stopping me in my life? Or am I working myself to become limitless?
And that's very true. And a certain amount of real fear that that there's a cliff there, so don't go any further. That's
Yes.
logical fear. It is the illogical fear that we place on ourselves. Well, I'm not going to try that because I remembered I tripped and fell when I was doing that, so I'm not going to do it again. Or somebody said that this is what I look like, and I don't want to look foolish. These are perceived fears that we're getting from others, and using using the ability to overcome and face these things with the courage that we have. This allows us to become closer and closer to our authentic self, and to be able to have a comfortable recognition of what we should be cautious of rather than what we should put in our fear category.
exactly. And I think if you would state something easy, to become limitless needs to cultivating your mindset
Hmm.
and paying attention to who you are, because every single one of us can do much more than we may acknowledge, right? Because we have been taught, no, you
Yes.
can't do that, because sometimes it's because you're a woman, sometimes it's because you're a man, and that is something good to say to me, right? Because I'm going to say, okay, you say I can't do that, I'm going to do it.
And that is true. But I love the way that you said, aligning our actions with our aspirations.
Yeah,
And that's beautifully said, because we all have aspirations, we all have dreams, and the dreams will ignite possibilities, but we have to take the action to bring them to fruition. And it doesn't, it can happen magically. I'm not going to disregard the fact that you can instantly do this because you are limitless. But however, with our human learning that we're doing, uh, you need to take action on what you have thought, and to bring it into
yeah,
its birth.
exactly. And we need to pay attention to, to find ourselves to what we are thinking about things. Because if we think that we have a lot of opinions about things, why do we have those? Are they in alignment with us? Are they meaningful? Because thoughts, to be frank, can are very, very strong. They can hold a lot of energy. Um, and thoughts can even become an entity by itself if
Yes.
it's fed with enough energy from a lot of people. Meaning that if a belief is strong with a lot of people, that that thing is going to be an entity. It has no soul, but it's an entity.
Yes. And I like the way that you use the word belief, because in my opinion, my perception, a belief is not, it is somebody else's and a group consolidation of, this is the way we're going to do this. And there is a difference between a belief and an inner knowing. And when you are limitless, you are guided by that inner knowing that this is the way that I need to be proceeding. This is the way I want to do this, rather than a perception of someone else that is given to us as, I hear this when people are doing an oath or something. I believe such and such and such. I believe such and such. It's almost like they're being programmed to believe this concept. And when you are limitless, you go beyond belief and you go into the, I'm feeling this. I know this. I am
Yeah,
trusting this.
yeah, because you feel in alignment with that which you want to choose. And
Exactly.
when we are paying attention to ourselves, we are also, sorry, presented with a lot of experiences, which is good because they come to us so we can make choices, right?
Yes.
And this is also my perception of karma, uh, choices and consequences of the choices, right? And the intention behind. But it's not a bad thing because usually we have longed for a change, for instance, in something. And then we are presented with a lot of different energies because energy is energy. When we set energy in motion, we are going to experience a lot of those things. Doesn't mean that it comes to us in a bad way. It comes to us so we can say, okay, I'm done with that. I'm not picking and choosing that anymore because I don't feel in alignment with it. But I pick and choose this thing. That thing I'm going to keep. So where we can feel, we're going to talk about that in another show as well. Chaos. It can feel chaotic. Um, but in the chaos of things, because when we want that change, when we are walking towards becoming limitless, all of those perceptions and ideas and thoughts and everything are going to be presented, not as a punishment or anything, but for us to pick and choose a new way.
Exactly. And nothing, no thing can come from lack of effort. Every item on the face of this earth was first somebody's limitless idea,
Yeah,
and they chose to follow that. I'm going to have a little coughing going on here.
absolutely. So, uh, another crucial aspect of living limitlessly involves harnessing the power of intention and visualization and our thoughts, right? So when we can clearly define our intentions, when we are sure about this is in alignment with me, it's not a post on me, it's not coming from someone else, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're coughing.
No,
Um,
I've just been dealing with some allergies, and it just kind of caught up to me.
yeah, yeah. So we can, it is not like, when we coming to the place also when we are manifesting, because we are constantly manifesting. We don't think about it, to be honest. We manifest all the time. We are manifesting right now because we do something, right?
Yeah.
Um, it means that don't give up on your dreams. Don't say to yourself that I cannot do that because. If you say that to yourself, explore where that is coming from. And usually with a little bit of time. And again, I'm going to mention this journey is not a quick fix. It's not like, okay, I listen and I read and I do, and in 1 week or a month, I'm ready and done. There is actually no goal here, right? But it's a long journey that will continue, but it's getting easier because in the beginning, in my perception, the challenge that one can experience is that you see all of these things that you have um, acknowledged before, and now you feel that they are not in alignment with me any longer, and you can feel a little bit lost. But for you to become limitless, or wrong wording, because we are already limitless. We are, but we have put on layers of other stuff. So when you take those away, that is when you need to be aware of what's not suitable for you anymore, right?
Oh, so you just told me that I'm going to have to keep doing this, and and I can't just take a pill and have it done. Well, complete darn. But
Darn.
but that
But
is
it's worth it.
but that's the beauty of having the human experience, because
Yes.
we are beings that are limitless, and we have been given the opportunity to be in a situation where this is tested, and it is saying, in order to evolve the human being in this race, we are going to show this human that even if they are experiencing allergies. That may be something that they want to get rid of through their ability. And I haven't quite mastered that yet, but I'm working on it. It's the same as when I am working with uh, when I'm exchanging energy with a person, and they've come in for a Reiki session, and they will be uh, lying on their back, and it's time to have them turn over. And I just gently say, I've been working on levitation, but I haven't quite mastered it. I can get you turned over, but I drop you. So but this is something that this is going to happen. And
Yeah.
there are times when you are so in the flow that this miraculous limitlessness is seen by others.
Yeah.
And the
And
beauty,
yes, sorry, go ahead.
but the beauty is that you have an observer that will relate these situations to you, and you go, it is true, it is true, you know.
Yeah, it is. And as I said before, it's a journey by itself to see yourself, right? Because it's so much more challenging to see yourself. It's easy to see all of those other people, what they do, what they are saying,
Yes.
how they should, you know. And this is how opinions come about things. But seeing yourself, the journey is so worth it. You can do this by living it. And when you are restricting yourself, monitor your thoughts, right? Why are you saying to yourself, I can't do this? Where does that come from? Who
Yes.
said you cannot do it? We
Yes.
can do, I have a big mouth, and I say we can do anything and everything, but we also have our own unique way of doing things. It doesn't mean that if someone can climb a ladder and work 5 meters up, maybe you have another solution for doing it, right? Um, a bad example, but there's always a way. Sometimes when we have injuries, we figure out different ways of doing things just because we have the need for it, right?
Yes.
And when life is flowing, we are a little bit convenient, so we don't feel that there's a need to be creative because creativeness also is involved in this. When you let yourself expand and try new things, to have that change also, to become limitless, it means that you need to expand outside of what you think you already are and know.
Yes. And I have been gifted in this lifetime, as I'm making my journey, to have had people make observations that I would not have known about. And one situation was when I was at a gong meditation, and we were all sitting around the gong as it was played, and my daughter was with me. And so it's someone that I can validate that she's speaking truth. And she said, Mom, she said, you were 5 inches off the ground. I had levitated 5 inches off the ground. And I go, well, that's cool. I'd like to be able to do that again. But I was in that connection, and I was in that limitlessness. And another time I had a friend, and we were at her cabin, a beautiful cabin, and it was in the pines, cool, and it was raining. I love rain, but it was also a full moon, and I love the full moon. And I said, I think I need to, I say, I'm going to just take a vacay, and I go into a deep meditation. And when I came out of the meditation, she had this really shocked look on her face. And I said, because I thought she had seen a javelina or some wild animal because we were in that area. And she said, as you were meditating, the clouds parted and it was still raining where on each side, but the moon shone and it was still raining around that space. And she said, and then she said, the trees bent down towards you. And I go, whoa, I would have loved to have seen that. But I was in that state of limitlessness. And I know that it's there for everyone. And preparing yourself and doing your homework, and, we are
Yes,
limitless.
we are limitless. Do you want us to read the poem again? You want to read it again?
Why don't you read it?
Okay. So Corinne has created the most wonderful poem. I am limitless. I am limitless. I am a miracle happening at this moment, beginning in the vastness of no thing and all things. The unity of unconditional love, so pure and divine, it is limitless. I am limitless. I am the heartbeat of a bird and the vibration of its song. I am limitless. I am the sea becoming the rising moisture that will again fall as rain. I am limitless. I am the thought that inspires the writer. I am limitless. I am the sound released in the great symphony. I am limitless. I am the color that inspires the artist. I am limitless. I am the lightning that strikes across the heavens. I am limitless. I am the power in the earthquake or the volcano. I am limitless. I am the whisper between lovers. I am limitless. I am the first breath of life and the last exhale at death. I am limitless. I am love without conditions. I am limitless. You are limitless. I am limitless. I am forever. I am creation. I am divine because I am limitless. I am limitless. That was so beautiful, Corinne. Thank you.
You're welcome. It was when I was writing this, um, I was so overpowered by the magnitude of what I was trying to get onto the paper that it almost limited how I could get it onto the paper. It was as if it needed to be said, it needed to be heard, it needed to be expressed, because we are all this limitless being. And when we live up to that expectation in ourselves, there will be no more situations in the world where we are not creating for the good of all.
Exactly. And coming back to what you have stated also, the infinite potential within, it starts with that. So from the moment we take our first breath, coming here as infants, we step into a world of endless possibility. So we don't have anything that is limiting us when we come here.
No.
And the soul sometimes takes a little bit of time to really sit in the body, right? Uh, it's unique for each and every one, but sometimes around a month or, so, or 6 weeks or something of that nature. Um, but the soul, as we talked about before, for the soul, there's a very different perspective than we have as a human being in this world, because here we are a little bit closed off, right?
Mhm.
But the soul is already limitless, coming in as an infant, but we are not confined when we come here by circumstances, nor defined by limitations imposed upon us. That comes when we are growing up because we are shaped. And from the human perspective, usually the parents, because they love their kids and children, they come from the place of what they think is love, right?
Mhm.
This is how this world functions. This is how we should do things. But the soul is already, sometimes maybe I have a belief that certain kids sometimes are reacting to this. It's like you are trying to restrict something, right? And it comes out in different ways.
Yes. And I think that's very true, that the rebelliousness that we have when we're growing up, we feel something is just not right, and we don't have the information or the experience at that particular time to verbalize it. And so we do what we can do. We act out. We may throw something, we may have a temper tantrum, but it's in our frustration of trying to adjust to the limits that are being put on us, because our soul knows that we're being restricted from being able to go on this avenue,
Yeah.
because your parents or your society says, well, this is the way that we see this. And you know that there is more to what is there. And so I really do believe that the journey that we have, which is also part of learning how to live with certain physical restrictions. I don't say limitations, but restrictions. And then getting to the point where we see that what we came to do is so much greater than what has been given to us.
Yeah, it is. And reflecting a little bit on nature's way to show limitlessness.
Oh, beautiful. And nature is limitless, and nature is so adaptive, and it creates environments that it can be its best. And it's taken millennium for human beings to go, well, we're trying to do this, but look at that hummingbird. It flies forwards and backwards and up and down and everything else. So if we want to do that, then let's emulate its limitlessness. Let's see how nature does this and survives. And learning to live, again, I get back to the beauty of the communication in nature, and for humans to stop imposing that they know better and to just be mindful and listen to nature would save us so many problems.
Yeah, exactly, because nature is natural, and somehow we are also now being shaped to live in a different way, with no connection with the natural way, because nature has seasons, nature has its way to grow, and nature also encounter obstacles, right?
Yes.
But very often find its way around.
Well, actually, that is true. That is very true. However, what science is finding now, that nature has an intricate connection They have not lost their connection through going out and having to buy a new car, or having to have that perfect body. They stay connected to their infinity, to their limitlessness. And even trees will sense days before a solar event happens and send communication to all the other trees so they can prepare themselves for the event that is coming. The
Yeah.
intricate communication that is now being understood, that happens through that mindfulness, is something that humans are just beginning to tap into because we got so busy with toys. I love toys. Uh, but I'm not obsessed by toys. And if it's not a toy that's going to give me feel it, like the computer, I am very happy that I have this ability to connect with you physically. I mean, through the air and through the time, to see you and to hear you. Um, but I'm not going to let it rule my life. You know.
Exactly. And I think that um, because we are biological human beings, divine beings, we are created in perfection. So finding yourself and walking the path of becoming limitless is to honor yourself,
Hmm.
to see yourself, not only see everybody else, to see you. Who are you? And I have a question for you. You like my questions, I know
Oh
you do,
yes,
because you always
yes. I never,
have,
I never know what's coming.
I have a juicy one for you. So, how can I break free from barriers? How can I break free from what I think I know?
Well, now you gave me one that I can probably give you a lot of ideas, and because you and I we have been preparing our audience in little increments of finding your way back to your authentic self through self love, through meditation, through mindfulness, through facing your shadows, through becoming the observer, not taking things personally. These are all gifts that great minds have given us, and being able to recognize that synchronicity flow when it
Yeah,
happens. And we fortunately have been given many means to be able to find that. And
yeah,
when you quiet yourself, and when you allow yourself to just be in the moment, in the now, that was another one that we talked about,
yes,
you are going to be able to regain that visible and audible connection that you thought that you had lost.
yeah. Being in the flow also means, and I've experienced this a million times, gazillion maybe. Sounds like an
Probably.
old lady now, right? But when one thing changes, for instance, you have an appointment and it changes, right? And you say, "Oh, darn," um, because it's going to crash with something else, right?
Mhm.
But then the other thing also changes, and then something else changes, and in the end, you can see, okay, everything kind of came into place
Yes.
without me having to struggle so much with it. So if you dare to see that, okay, when something changes, it's not always bad. Many times it can be like a help for you. Like if you are delayed to go away to take the train somewhere, the subway or something. And when you enter, and I know I have a friend that experienced that a lot of times, you enter and you were delayed, but the train was also delayed. So it comes together. It comes when you come, or you wait a minute, right?
Yes, yes. And the the beauty about being able to be in your present mind and not taking it personally that the universe is against you, and saying, I'm going to allow for the possibilities of what this new experience is going to bring me. And always being, and believe me, you can't always do this, but when you are and you're in the flow, it's like, that's okay, because I know something else is waiting. And also, you do not know that that delay has kept you from something that would have been very disarming or harmful to you. So I always figure that if there is a situation that comes up, that it was always for my highest good, even though it doesn't feel like it at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, because it's moving forward. And no matter what we are experiencing, sometimes we can feel like we are in a deep valley, like down under, can't go lower than that, right?
Yes.
But that is also a part of many times when we feel like we have released many things. You can feel really stuck, but it's nothing to fear. And when we are fighting against whatever is going on, if we are in that low place or we are fighting against some change that came about, that's going to take a lot of energy and keeping us on a side path where
Yes.
we actually don't want to be, right? So you wrote something very beautiful about living as a limitless being. Can I read that?
You may.
To declare I am limitless is not only to speak words, but to step into a way of being. And you stated this. It is an invitation to trust and to trust in one's power to align with the vastness of existence and to create without hesitation, because we are creating also all the time,
Mhm.
manifesting. The limitless mind is not bound by fear. The limitless heart does not shy away from love. The limitless soul knows that growth, creation, and transformation are eternal. And so, in every moment, we have the choice to embrace the infinite or to shrink into restriction. The truth is, we were always limitless. We only needed to remember.
Yes. Words well said, Anna. Words well said. And um, if we, part of the thing is to remember, and we are given daily doses of forgetfulness through interference with like Wi-Fi and radio waves and food and water. And because to remember our limitless potential means that we all are going to have that ability to be able to contribute to a better place.
Yeah,
And people that are seeking control, even in relationships, they seek control because of their fear. And this is something that we are starting to wake up from. We are starting to be aware of. And it's a beautiful thing when I see even, and I laughingly say the young people, because they have been really, really hardcore programmed. And when you see someone that's in their 20s and they're saying, I'm not going to be restricted by this, and they shine, and you go, oh my goodness, this is beautiful. This is, you know, the energy of positivity and limitlessness is breaking through the crust and the barriers. And however they started having their enlightenment, I'm very, very grateful to see this.
I'm grateful to see that too, and it is beautiful. It is an awakening, and a lot of people are starting to question. And this, I think, the last few years, because we have been rephrase that. We have been experiencing a world we don't recognize because
Yes,
it's so different. So many things happen. So many things are different. But it's a good thing to question, not only follow what everybody says, right? I
yes,
don't mean to go against laws, but I mean to question things before we do, and if it feels like we are in alignment. And for instance, I wanted to mention before, you guys were restricted, and almost all countries in the world were restricted a few years ago, right? But we were not, and we were considered the black sheep. I mean, Sweden,
oh
the
yeah,
black sheep around the North countries,
yeah. Don't
Scandinavia,
go there.
right?
Don't go there. Bad, bad, bad. And it's funny when you say, we were restricted. Uh, well, the tenacious, um, stubborn, uh, limitless person I didn't conform. I was that nonconformist, and
Yeah.
I I felt that it was a situation that okay, I'm not going to go into that because that's a whole nother show. But the point is that we can tap into our limitlessness because it never has gone away. It's just been
Oh,
shrouded. It's just
yes.
been as a lot of people say with life and death, there is a veil around it. It has been veiled so we would not, jump into it because we can be a very creative type of beings. And all the things that we have done, like with plastic and forever drugs and the concept of medicine, these are just illusions. And they can be rectified. They can be, can be a solution to them. We can find different ways of doing something that is not damaging everything else around us. But many people took the easy way. And, we're here to say
Yeah.
good for the ones that are making better decisions.
Yeah, and we afterwards the discussion, because this is another show also, but the conclusion was that Sweden wasn't worse than any other country in the end, even if
No,
we didn't have. And I think that if you follow certain restrictions, no advices like washing your hands, ordinary things,
common
uh,
things.
yeah, common things. I didn't conform either. But there were, because I traveled and they wouldn't let me travel without, so I had to. But only those times, right?
Yes. And that's the point, common sense has been one of those senses that has been taken away from us. I mean, we have a lot more senses than just feeling, touching, seeing, and so forth. We have common sense, and that has just been kind of eradicated. And but it was wonderful that one country said, you know, we're going to be the example instead of, as you said, you were the black sheep for a long time. But
Yeah.
however, you proved that this concept that was being given to us, and I'm not saying that it was not real. People were dying, and it was real. I'm saying the way that it was handled
Yeah.
was done to put more fear. And never, ever, ever. I mean, our world has gone through all kinds of horrific challenges from the beginning of time, but
Yeah.
never, ever has it been a global fear that has been so impacted. And the human body is having problems adjusting to that with PTSD, um, with depression, with suicides. Never before have they ever seen this. We're encouraging you to realize that you are the key to your freedom of being your unlimited self.
Yes,
You
exactly.
have the key.
And we actually are equipped with free will. That is, you could say, a law for each and every one of us. We have free will, so we can't really be forced, even if we are many times oppose some sort of force against us, right?
Yes.
But we always have a say, and there's always a way to find your way through challenges like that, right?
Yes, and it's how you see yourself. Are you are you limitless or are you victim? And as we've talked about before, and I remember this, well, you can't see it, the little bracelet that I got from that Tibetan monk.
Yeah.
20 years daily he was tortured, and 20
Oh,
years daily he forgave his torturers. And that was his choice. That was his choice. And when he was finally freed, the gifts that he has given the world since then, but we have the choice. And that is where it takes the tenacity and the awareness that you are more than what the world is telling you you are.
yes, exactly. Don't let anyone tell you who you are because they have an idea of you, they have an opinion, they have a perception, but only you know who you are, and you are limitless, right?
Yes, yes. We are forever.
So,
We are.
yeah, we are. So, do you think we said everything today that we wanted to say?
Well, I think we said everything that we were going to say on this particular day. And I think more is going to be said in the future because that just seems to be the way we plant a seed. And then all of a sudden we get this beautiful plant. We have to take this flower and that flower. And, but as for this moment in this time, yes, thank you. It was beautiful. I enjoyed this. And yes.
It was wonderful, and going to see, no, that's the wrong one. But anyway, so thank you, everyone. And you have been watching Cosmic Sister Show with Anne and Corrine, discussing Unleashing Infinity, the art of living limitlessly. There we go. Now I put the right one up. And our next upcoming show here on Cosmic Guardians and Cosmic Sisters is going to be next Wednesday, June 11th, with no, sorry, I don't need to repeat myself. We are going to talk about The Celestial Prophecy by James Redfield. So we go to Insight 3, and that is the energy of life. Everything is energy, and we can tap into it. That's interesting. So we are doing a 12-part series. We started in May, so we are just on the third insight right now, talking about the Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. And we will actually try to discuss and explore the insights because they are, even if they are written a long time ago, they are so accurate because everything is energy, everything is energy. And we talk about that twice a month, and we invite you to come and join us. And I can mention that we actually have a place to go also to see the series we have done. This is our second series. The first one was about the four agreements, and you can go to angelplaceonearth.com/series dash cosmic dash guardians. And there you can find everything. You can also find us at angelplaceonearth.com/cosmic guardians and angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming dash past, which holds all the shows, and there's a link to YouTube because Facebook actually they only keep the videos for 30 days. So we refer to YouTube instead. And that's why we actually are here today. So it's a little bit easier for us. A lot of talking still, right? So I say thank you for watching us and see you soon. And I say love, light, peace, and joy to everyone. What do you say, Kareem?
Love, light, peace, and joy, and laughter.
Yes.
And I'm waving at you. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, everybody.